Hey guys, Kevin here. So I want to talk about winning because lately it feels like we're losing a lot. From people being banned from entering countries for holding certain political beliefs, to people being arrested for speaking out about those political beliefs, people being banned on YouTube and Facebook here, people having their channels demonetized. It's just a barrage of attacks on the right lately. On top of that, we've lost a few special elections. So it's been tough. I mean, we feel like we're losing ground. And so I want to give you guys some examples of where we're winning. So if you want to find out which way political winds are going to shift in a country, you really just need to follow what's happening in academia. Now, I don't like that academia has the ability to steer our society in these bad directions. I wouldn't mind it if academia was more focused on sciences like they were post-World War II and engineering, things like that. But the reason academia has gotten to the point where it is because the left knew that by infiltrating our universities, they could steer our society certain directions. That's why they plotted back in the 40s and 50s to infiltrate the colleges. That's why they implemented it during the 80s and 90s. That's why they use nepotism and cronyism now to keep conservatives out of these institutions. But they can't keep our kids out. And therein lies their defeat. So because we haven't wasted our prime years living in mom's basement, consuming soy, or chasing the lies that is feminism, we are having more kids, right? Us conservatives. And we are also making more money. And because of that, I really think this new generation is going to be the ones who push back against the left. And you're already seeing it, right? I mean, part of the reason the colleges got so bad and we're seeing these millennials so spoiled and so entitled is because that was that last sort of generation of the hippies, the people from the 60s and 70s, their children. But now we are seeing the children of the Reagan youth. And I couldn't be more happy with what I've seen from these kids, guys. I'm going to read to you guys some stories from college campuses that I saw over the last 2 weeks. And usually it's just so negative, right? Usually it's so just dark and just progressive insanity. But now it seems like we're seeing some positive stuff happening. I'm going to start with DePaul University. DePaul University backs down, allows conservative group to host Steven Crowder. So the Young Americans for Freedom chapter at DePaul University was told they could not have Steven Crowder, who is not an extremist by any stretch. They were told they couldn't have him on campus, but they pushed back, and good for them, DePaul buckled. Next, at UC Merced, deep in California, in the belly of the beast, campus Republicans held a rally for immigration enforcement support and for firearms. I guess they also had a little thing going on for the Second Amendment. Anyway, the whole faculty and administration at this campus started attacking these Republicans. Guys, I'm reading some of the tweets about this. It is so disgusting how these professors targeted these students with tweets and slandered them in so many horrible ways. One tweet from UC Merced said, "Will you continue to support racists, xenophobes, white supremacists, and violence on our campus? Will you hold yourself accountable for the violence you perpetrated today?" Aiming this tweet at these college Republicans. And it's so funny because this tweet is right next to a picture of these Democrats on campus, these Antifa people trying to attack these conservative students. So, the left always project, but another great victory there. So this is a big one, guys. In Michigan, lawmakers are looking to take control of campus free speech. Michigan lawmakers want to amend the state's constitution to give the legislature control over protecting free speech on college campuses. Now, they're doing this because there have been so many of these events at Michigan universities that have been interrupted by Antifa types, or where students were actually sent off campus by the university because the university didn't want to host certain events. And it's out of control. I mean, these kids have every right to speak on a public campus. And I guarantee you the very people who are trying to prohibit these kids from speaking now were the same people who were marching against the war in Vietnam back in the 1960s and 70s. So, second rule of the left, right? Leftists are hypocrites who cannibalize. So here's something from Gallup that I just find so heartwarming. Poll: 3 in 5 students say campus climate deters free speech. A new Gallup survey finds that 61% of college students believe their campus climate stifles free speech. This is up from 54% just 1 year ago. So a big shift upwards. People are waking up to this oppression, to this censorship. While 92% of students said that liberal students are able to freely and openly express their views, only 69% reported that the same could be said for conservative students. So people are seeing this obvious bias on campus too, and that's important. I think a lot of these kids were not really aware of this, and now we're seeing more and more of them waking up, and that's really important. I think we definitely are having the zeitgeist start to change, and it's about time. So this one is not a victory, it's actually a loss, but in losing this one, we win. And it is so ballsy. It's from the College Fix. College Republicans president resigns rather than apologize for free speech wall that triggered his peers. Now this little kid, he's a scrawny little bastard, but man, he's got some balls. His name is Matthias Eick, and he's an immigrant in this country from Norway, but he is dedicated to our Constitution and our First and Second Amendment. So much so that he joined the College Republicans, became president, and this year he built a wall for free speech. And it's hilarious, guys. It's just a wall out of cardboard with all these memes on it. And he posted these different memes like Hillary for prison and Pepe and male and female. There's 2 genders. So the college wanted him to tear down his wall. And they actually wanted him to take down certain signs too, like defund Planned Parenthood and killing babies is wrong. And so instead of complying, little Matthias said, "Screw you guys, I'm going home." And he stepped down. He said, I'm not going to apologize to the student body for being pro-gun, pro-America, and pro-life. So good for him. This kid is awesome. We need a million like him. So yeah, great victory there. So here's another one that's very important. Florida lets students sue colleges for stifling their free speech under new law. This is really great, guys. We really should have been doing these things sooner. But, better late than never. Because this is how we fight the left. The left have used all these organizations like the SPLC, the ADL, the ACLU, and they have lawyers galore who sue people every time somebody sneezes wrongly at an LGBTQ couple. Meanwhile, us on the right, we have no protections, right? We have no lawyers groups. We have none of these activist organizations that help defend us. I mean, there's some for the neocon set, but there's nothing out there for libertarians or nationalists or conservatives. I mean, true conservatives. So this is great. We have some people finally stepping up. Miami agrees to pay security fee for Charles Murray talk after pressure from conservative law students. That's the way we fight them, guys. We need more law students, more conservative law students, and more activist lawyers, activist judges. I don't like activist judges. I wish we didn't have judicial activism, but if the left's going to use it, we should start using it too. And Charles Murray, if you don't know, he was the guy who wrote The Bell Curve. He talked about race and IQ, and because of that, he is now hated on every college campus, and people are willing to do violence to stop him from speaking. So I'll end this with what I think is the most important victory we've had on college campuses as of late, and this comes from the University of Colorado Boulder, and it's very important. It is conservative program doubles in size after recent victories. And this program they're talking about is called the Conservative Thought and Policy Program. And this program is super important because it actually offers a counter to this leftist subversion that you always hear me talking about. You see, guys, if you're somebody like me or my wife who might want to go teach on a university campus, but really dreads being around these leftists. And these leftists in many universities have taken over whole departments. Hell, they've taken over whole universities in many cases. But if you're somebody with a conservative lean or a libertarian lean and you go into these departments, you are treated like an outcast. You were ostracized. The environment is just toxic. And so nobody's going to want to take full-time employment at these universities. So how do we get our voices out there? Well, this program answers that. It brings in these guest scholars, and these guest scholars are not necessarily socially conservative or fiscally conservative. It could be both. It could be anything really, just right-wing or classical liberalist. But they're bringing in these professors, these guest speakers, and they started by bringing in one professor to teach a class each semester. And what they would do is bring these professors in with a right wing, and they weren't necessarily just from academia. Some of them might have been from the private sector, but they would bring these people in who had a right-wing point of view, and they would teach for one semester. And that's great. That's brilliant, because they're not going to have to worry about what the administration thinks or what the other professors think. So they can be free to teach what they want. And that freedom has really given this program so much success, because these kids are being starved for this kind of knowledge. And one of the reasons this program cited as being successful is that so many kids from the left have enjoyed these programs. They've been at these events and they've been attending these classes. And that really speaks to the fact that, these kids are being so indoctrinated, so brainwashed, that they are just starved for real knowledge. So the other thing the success of this program shows us is that what I've been saying about the free market of ideas is absolutely right. When you take our ideas and you put them up against the left's in a free market where you don't have, this constant programming and indoctrination, you don't have this bullying from the left-wing professors and this peer pressure. When you compare the ideas, theirs to ours, in a free exchange, ours will win every time. Our ideas are better. And when you have an educated demographic or an intelligent demographic, and they are allowed to see both sides of an argument, we will win every time. And that is so important, guys, that we have that ability to get our ideas out there. And all these victories I mentioned today are showing me that we do have that opportunity now. We are making headway. And, the UK can ban us all they want, but our ideas will reach them. And our ideas will reach every corner of this globe. We just have to be committed to spreading them as much as the left has been. And so, guys, I hope if you take away nothing from these articles, you take away that we have to be the subversive ones, just as much so as the left has been. We have to be the ones who go out there and make our voices heard, even against this oppression. And that's what it is. It's oppression. Even against this oppression, against this suppression, we have to go out and try to find a way to communicate our ideas to other people. And if we can do that, we will win. Guys, I'm out. Check me out on my main channel at, I don't even remember the name anymore. It is, InfoWars Stop the Purge. Go check me out on my alt, which is The Patriot Punk. And check out my videos on the Liberty Network, as well as videos by Shane Killian, Mr. Dapperton, The Executioner, Satan Says, and My Two Cents, and many more. Guys, check out all those networks and subscribe. That's another way to get those ideas out there. Subscribe and share, guys, especially my stuff, and Dapperton's too. I'm out.